Welcome back to this week's episode of Guns Explained. I am Cameron Porter with Salt Lake Wholesale Sports. This is Jordan Mitchell with Salt Lake Wholesale Sports. We're going to talk to you about another distinction with ammo. It's not all about caliber. There's a lot of other ways that ammo is differentiated. Last week we talked about the difference between full metal jacket and hollow point ammunition. This week we're talking about a different difference, which is bonded versus non-bonded. So, Jordan, if you're talking about bonded versus non-bonded, what does that mean?
Easiest way to put it is the lead core and the copper jacket around the projectile are fused together. There's different ways of doing it, but the most important distinction is they're together. So you can do kind of like a mechanical bond where you kind of wedge it in there if you would. You can do what's called a flux bond, which is more gluing and welding and then baking. And you can do an electromagnetic bond, which is where it plates it to it, like you molecularly plate it to the top of it. I mean, there's different ways of doing it.
Okay.
It's all in the technology. Different brands do it different ways, but they're all together. That's
Okay.
Bonded versus non-bonded.
So why would someone want bonded or non-bonded?
Well, it performs better. Whether you're out big game hunting, whether you really want to make sure that you take down that elk at 300 yards, or whether you're in law enforcement and you want to make sure that it's going to be able to punch through something like automobile glass so that it's able to take out the suspect on the other side. That's what you want, is you want something that is going to maintain its control and it's not going to shed the jacket, lose weight, because at the end of the day, penetration is the most important factor. You need to be able to penetrate in gelatin so far or in tissue so far so as to hit a vital organ. And in order to do that, you need to make sure that you're not losing half of your mass along the way, because the penetration is really a function of the mass and the design of the bullet, not so much anything else. So, greater control over the mass of the bullet through barriers and through tissue. That's why bonded.
So it sounds like this is more something that's going to come up when you're talking rifle ammunition as opposed to handgun ammunition?
Yeah. The faster and the lighter the projectile, the more exaggerated the difference becomes. So in a little 55 grain 223 round versus, a 230 grain 45 auto going a third of the speed, yeah, we'll see a lot more difference between those two rounds.
Okay, so the bonded helps it better penetrate when it hits obstacles.
Yes, sir.
And of course, in a law enforcement environment or situation, application, that's going to matter when you're using a rifle.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So we're going to take an opportunity to shoot some 9mm bonded and non-bonded. We'll show it, and then we'll do the same thing with 223. Okay. Big difference we're going to see there. A little less obvious in the non-bonded versus bonded stuff in 9mm. But we're going to see the big separation between the two there.
Okay, let's jump in.
All right. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to shoot through bare gelatin. This is a standard FBI protocol event. We're going to shoot bonded Spear Gold Dot Generation 2 and then non-bonded Federal Train and Protect. This is just a standard hollow point, nothing real crazy about it. We'll show the difference and then we'll put a sheet of 1/4-inch laminated automobile glass up. This is also an FBI ballistic testing event, and we'll shoot again the Gold Dot Generation 2 and the Federal Train and Protect conventional hollow point, show the differences. We'll take some shots of it and get some more information for you. Okay, eyes and ears, going hot. Clear?
So our ballistic gel should be safe behind that for the non-bonded.
Well, it's going to go through, no doubt, but what we're going to see is likely the core will maintain its trajectory a little bit more, and we'll probably see the copper jacket break off and maybe hit somewhere else on the ballistic gel. It might even fall off to the side.
Okay.
But it's going to still penetrate through. It's just not going to go far enough. Again, the FBI has a specific distance in order to hit vital organs that we're looking for, and that's between about 12 to 18 inches. But we're going to not see that with the non-bonded conventional ammunition that's a little bit less expensive. We want good premium bonded ammunition for law enforcement, for high-profile hunting, etc., etc.
Gotcha.
All right, eyes and ears, going hot. Yeah. Clear. So that would be our gold dot through auto glass. This would be our gold dot through bare gel. Okay. And then this would be our non-bonded through bare gel and our non-bonded through auto glass. So okay. You can just see how that extra layering affects it. So basically, distance is the biggest deviation between all of this. So through the bare gelatin, the gold dot generation 2, we'll throw up a tape measure on here, went about 16.5 inches. And then once we put it through auto glass, looks like it went right about 12 inches. Then the non-bonded through bare gelatin is right there behind it. And it only went about 10 inches or so. And then when it got punched through automobile glass, looks like we're just barely under 6. So right about 6. It's just not going to do the job when we're looking at about 12 inches of penetration in order to hit a vital organ. Let's pop them out and let's see what they look like. Boy, that got crunched.
Wow. So that's non-bonded.
Non-bonded. It held together. I mean, at least I got to hand it to him there. The copper jacket didn't completely separate from the lead core. It just didn't hold together well enough to really go the distance. And here it is through bare gelatin. It just went about 10 inches through bare gelatin. So even that was a little underperforming on what we want to see.
Yeah, okay.
Then here's the gold dot generation 2 through the automobile glass. That maintained its nice base to it, so lots of good performance there. This one pancaked completely through automobile glass.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, the prettiest one of them all is going to be the gold dot generation 2 through bare gelatin. So, I see a lot of difference in the amount of weight that carried over between these two when we punched through automobile glass. A lot less maintained its structure, kind of pancaked, flattened, looks like it dragged a little bit. Yeah, but overall, can't say that any of them broke in half or anything crazy like that, but biggest deviation was, of course, the penetration. We wanted to hit about 12 inches, which would have been about right here. We only made it about halfway through the non-bonded ammunition through a heavy barrier like automobile glass. So, take a look at our bonded hollow points first, see what we are looking for. Obviously through bare gelatin, the FBI round gold dot generation 2 performed great. It starts off at 147 grains. We got a little bit of wind here, but we're about 146.6, so can't get any better than that.
Yeah.
Through the automobile glass, we're at 139.8.
Okay.
So lost just a few minor grains. Just in bare gelatin, this one started out at 115 grains and ended up at 112. So didn't lose much there, but when we punch it through some automobile glass, didn't lose much there either.
Well, it looks like it picked up some.
It actually did pick up a little bit, you're right.
It probably grabbed some gel and took it.
Yeah, it sure did, man. So yeah, grab some gel. We're at 115.5 there. So it increased in weight, but didn't quite go the distance. So interesting what can happen when you do these. Never will you see the same thing twice. Always little insecure or unpredictabilities. Now we're gonna do the same thing through 223 rounds through a little AR, and we're gonna see a lot of difference between the non-bonded and the bonded ammunition there.
All right, sounds great.
Well, I'm excited. For our non-bonded to bonded test, what we're gonna do is we're gonna shoot out of a conventional 16-inch M4 made by Primary Weapon Systems. We're gonna shoot federal law enforcement T223T, which is a 55 grain with a Nosler ballistic tip on it as our non-bonded round. Great ammunition, and then we're gonna compare it to a bonded, federal tactical bonded in 62 grain. So we're gonna see a big difference when we shoot it through both bare gelatin and specifically through automobile glass. So let's check it out. Eyes and ears, going hot. Okay. Clear.
Oh my God.
With the light behind it, it really shows all these fragments everywhere on the ballistic tip ammunition. That tiny little piece there is our furthest piece.
Jeez, at this point, you're just shooting buckshot.
Yeah. And then the tactical bonded here at the end, that did great. But that all held together, and that's that lower path of the bullet. But wow, look at that.
So this
Look at all that shredding of tissue.
This is so much more distinct and obvious than the handgun ammunition.
Yeah, absolutely. It's because we're bumping up to rifle rounds.
So the added velocity is what makes it so much more impactful.
Yeah, all of that is considered to be damage done. Whereas in a handgun, because human tissue is so elastic, it really just kind of expands and then slaps back together. But when we add that extra velocity, it really kind of shreds it along the way.
So conversely, in a home defense situation, if you are defending, using an AR type, an AR variant for home defense, maybe you want non-bonded.
Yeah, if you're trying to make sure you're not penetrating through, multiple walls and things like that, that would be great. It's an excellent round. If you're trying to take down smaller game varmints specifically, that would be excellent because, again, all of that tissue damage is just, it's devastating.
Okay, cool.
All right, let's throw up some automobile glass and let's see what happens. All right, eyes and ears going hot. Wow, 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 wow. Look at that. Boy, I wish I never would have thought about this beforehand, but with this gel being as clear as it is and how bright it is, like when I hit that ballistic tip shot, from this angle, you could just see the lead just pepper this. Look at how dark that is up front.
Oh my gosh, so that's not like sulfur or gunpowder or anything, that's lead.
That is the lead of the projectile.
Oh
and if
my
you look at it right here,
gosh.
all of these fragments from that ballistic tip ammunition, all they did is just go in a couple of inches.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't do anything really all that substantial. That right there is the lead base of the bullet. That was the furthest penetrating point on that. And all that is, I bet you that weighs about 10 grains. Went roughly about 6 or 7 inches on that.
My gosh.
Just incredible, the difference. So yeah, that 3,000 feet per second in such a tiny little bullet makes a big difference. So let's start with the non-bonded ammunition. When we shot it through bare gel, looks like it went about 7 inches. Or excuse me, through bare gel, looks like it went...
13 inches.
There we go, 13 inches. And then when we shot it through automobile glass, went about, what is that, 7 inches?
Yeah, right at.
And then our bonded ammunition, through bare gelatin, it's a little bit more cloudy from that angle, but it looks like it went just about 15.5 inches. And then through the automobile glass, it's kind of right down there a little bit. 14 inches looks like.
Yeah, not quite 14, I guess, but yeah.
All of it within the FBI protocol, though. Again, what we're looking for is that 12 to 18 inches. Did we get it in the ballistic tip? We did through bare gelatin. Again, a great niche round. We did not get it through automobile glass. Wow. So maybe not what you are looking for in a law enforcement application. Maybe great for small game hunting, for some self-defense applications.
Wow.
Interesting, the difference on that.
But
There's the tactical bonded through automobile glass.
oh yeah, you can see that just stayed together so much better.
Compared to bare gelatin. Look at that.
Man, I see why automobile glass is kind of the end all be all.
Yeah, it really separates the different kinds of bullets. Wow, look at that. That's just incredible.
I know. It pulverizes.
There's so little difference between the two. Obviously, it kind of flattened it a little bit when it went through the automobile glass, but that's it.
So the performance of bonded is always going to be so much more consistent.
Absolutely. That's really key.
Makes a lot of sense. Okay. So that is an explanation and a demonstration of bonded versus non-bonded ammunition. As you can see, the difference in rifle is going to be far greater than the difference in handgun. and they have different applications for different reasons. So thank you for joining us for this episode of Guns Explained with Salt Lake Wholesale Sports. I'm Cameron Porter.
And I'm Jordan Mitchell.
We'll see you next week.